Hey YouTube, this is Daniel Vanover. Welcome back for another technology tip of the week. This week I'm going to show you how to get started with Google Groups. Google Groups is a location where you can create an email list that folks can join so that when you send to a single email, it will distribute that email out to several people. So let me share my screen with you. We'll get started with Google Groups. So to get to Google Groups, you can either go to groups.google.com in the address bar, or you can click on the apps launcher and choose Google Groups from this list. So Google Groups will either be here in the middle, or if you need to scroll down a little bit to get through more, you may see Google Groups down here at the bottom. Just click on Google Groups and it takes you to Google Groups. So to see what groups you're a part of, you'll see My Groups there. And this is just groups within the domain first. So any groups that are in your school division's domain, our school division's domain is wiseK12.org. It's just what you're a part of in this domain. If you want to see what groups you're a member of outside of the domain, so this could be public groups, this could be anything at googlegroups.com. Click on Public Groups, and it shows you all of the public groups that you're a member of. So these are groups that you may have joined using your wiseK12.org account, or that you may have been added to using your wiseK12.org account. So I have a few here that are outside Google Groups. These are not ones that I manage. These are not ones that Wise County Public Schools manages. These are groups that are just out there. What a group really is it's a mailing list. So this allows someone to just send an email to a particular email address, and that email address will forward that email out to everybody in the group, and everyone can go see all of the messages that have been sent inside that group if they're a member of that group. I can switch back to the wiseK12.org domain and just see my organization's groups by clicking on switch to wiseK12.org. It switches over to my wiseK12.org grouping, and I can see all the groups I'm a member of that. Now, one of the things that you'll be able to do here is you should be able to click on Create Group. If you click on Create Group, you'll be able to create your own Google group within our domain. So this could be a group for a specific set of people in your school. You could do a grade level group. You could do a department group. You could do all of the English teachers in third grade across the county group and invite all of those in if you wanted to and name that group. So if we wanted to name our group just Test, it's going to put that same name in here in the email address. So the email address, we'll do Test2 because it looks like that group's already created. Test2-group at wiseK12.org would be the email address that someone could email, and anyone that's a member of this group would get those emails. So then I go down here and I look at some of the other settings that are in Google Groups, just right here on the front page. One of those settings is whether or not this is a email list type group, or a web forum, a Q&A forum, or collaborative inbox. It's unlikely that you will be using any of these others inside of the Google Certified Educator test, but I wanted you to know where these were in case you needed to create one. And all the web forum is, it becomes a place where folks can just go in and have conversations inside of Google Group. So it's similar to the emailing group because it's still just messages back and forth, but it's more of discussion forum kind of things. You could also have a Q&A forum where you can set specific people to be the moderators and they answer the questions, or you just have, this is a general Q&A forum. It's very similar to that web forum. And then finally, a collaborative inbox is just an inbox. It's like an email address that folks can assign other members to treat things that happen inside that email address as tasks. So This could be like work orders, stuff like that, that you can create. These are not necessarily going to be used, and most likely are not going to be used in our setting. Most of the time, what you're going to be creating is an email list. So we'll leave it on an email list. We see some of the settings that you can have here, whether or not folks can view topics, and you can select what groups of people you want to be able to view the topics. You can also see who can post. So if this were an email list and you wanted only specific people to be able to send an email out to all members of this group, then you would be able to check which ones you want. An example of this is a distribution list for an organization, such as the like a group of parents, or a organization like the PTA, where you may not want every parent that's a member of that group to be able to email everybody in the group. But what you may want, though, is for certain people to be able to email everybody in the group, and still everybody that's in the group receive those email messages. So this is how you would set that up. You could go in and you could uncheck specific things so that only managers or only owners of the group are able to email folks in that group. Everyone still gets the emails, but only the owners of the group will be able to send emails out. If you want anyone on the web to be able to email this group, you need to make sure that that's checked, anyone on the web. Finally, it lets you select how you want folks to be able to join this group. So you can have anyone in Wise County Public Schools, if it's anyone in the organization. You can also set it so anyone on the web. And what that would allow you to do is it would allow you to have a group like we mentioned before, like a parent group, where you have your parent-teacher association, or whatever other association that you have that has people outside of Wise County Schools. They can join the group with their Gmail address, their Google account, and they would be able to receive the emails that you send to that group. This is another really handy feature of Google Groups, because you're able to invite other people outside of Wise County Schools into that group. If you only want folks within Wise County Schools, you need to leave it on anyone in the organization, or even down to only invited users. So only the folks who are invited to join the group, means that you actually have to go in and add folks to the group yourself, can join that group. You can also set it to anyone can ask. So what that does is it makes it still an open group where anyone on the web could get to it, but they have to ask permission to join it. So they're not going to automatically be added into it. They have to ask permission, and the folks who own the group, like the manager or the owner, would have to go in and approve that. And then finally, anyone in the organization can ask there. If you just check that, then it will make it to where only folks in Wise County Schools can join the group, and they have to ask to join the group as well. So they have to be approved to join the group. We have a couple groups like this, such as the Google Classroom Teachers Group, where anyone in Wise County Schools could ask to join the group. A student could ask to join the Teachers Group for Google Classroom. However, you have to be approved in order to join the Teachers Group. So we would go in, a lot of times we as the ITRTs, or even some of the technicians, will go in and approve folks to join the Teacher Group for Google Classroom, so that they have the create a class option inside of Google Classroom. So with this one, we could leave it on anyone on the web, or anyone can ask. And then we just click create. So it kind of gives us an overview of this is going to happen. You're going to allow users outside of your domain to perform these actions. They can post. You're sure you want to do this. I want to rethink that. So I'm going to click cancel, and I'm just going to say only managers of the group. So I'm going to say create. And that way, let's say this was a PTA. I could have certain people who were allowed to post out things in the group, and I wouldn't have to worry about anyone in the group being able to send an email out to the entire group with this. So now, as a user in this, all I have to do is go in and create an email inside of my Gmail and email that group email address that I told you. So the group email address is test2-group@wisek12.org. If I send an email to that email address, it's going to email everyone in the group, which is really handy because I can quickly create this distribution list of people that I want inside of that group and email them. To directly add someone in the group, you'll go to either members or manage, one or the other. Either one works, takes you about to the same place. Then over here on the left, you'll see invite members. Invite members allows you to add people in using their email address. So it invites them. It doesn't directly add them. So there's a difference between just adding them in and inviting them. I could send an email to Jesse Roberts, and Jesse would get an email, and he would have to accept that invitation. But if I wanted to directly add him, I give him the option of accepting. He has to be a part of this group. I go over here to direct add members and type his email address there and click on add. So this is two of the ways that you can add folks in to the group. You can either invite them or you can directly add them. If I want to just send a web link out to folks though and say, here's the link to our Google group. Feel free to join it. You can request to join it. You can get that link by clicking over here in information. You have to be inside this screen where it has members and messages and settings, permissions, and all that. You get to that screen by clicking on either manage or members. And go down here to information. You may have to click that to drop it down, and then click on general information. General information will give you this web address. So you get this web address and you can share that web address with folks and they can join the Google group, or if you have the setting where it has to be approved, they can ask to join the Google group, and you will get a notification if you're the owner or manager of the group that someone has requested to join your Google group. So then you would go into Google Groups, over here where it says join requests, and you would see pending members, and you would just select them and either approve or reject them. So it's pretty simple to get started with Google Groups, but probably the most that you will have to do if you're taking the Google Certified Educator Level 2 test is you'll have to go in, create a Google group, and maybe add a couple students or a couple members, a couple parents into that Google group during the test. And that's how you get started with Google Groups. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click the notification bell below so that you get updated on new videos as I post them. If you like this video, then give it a thumbs up. Again, this is Daniel Vanover with your Technology Tip of the Week, how to get started with Google Groups. Have a great week. I'll see you next time.